I was so happy when we finally met our son, but it wasn't like, oh, I always dreamt of being a parent. But now I can't imagine how I didn't want to be a parent. A surrogacy journey is an emotional roller coaster. Your emotions can go through being, did I make a mistake? Am I sure? Am I going to be a father? To, oh, can't I be born yet? I want to be a dad now. Like in the same day. Both my husband and I are extremely white. We felt like some pigment in the family won't hurt. So let's go with the Colombian database. So my husband is the biological dad. So he was the one dropping off. I was just sitting there outside waiting.
With a magazine and a martini, yes?
Basically, yeah. I was actually at the drag race viewing party the night before because, like, we're just waiting for the call. Now, past 12, the phone rings and he's here now. When I held my son, it was the most normal thing ever. Like, I knew that I was a dad, logically, but I think for me it took like 3 weeks before I emotionally felt like a dad. Like, okay, I love you more than anything. Like, I would do everything.
I'm Oliver, and this is the Friend of Dorothy podcast. And today we have Dennis Wesemann Widmark here to tell us his story as a fellow gay parent and also helping other gay men in their surrogacy journey. Hi, Dennis. Welcome. How are you today?
I'm great, thanks. And you?
I am good, ready to go. Excited to hear your story and share some of mine and discuss surrogacy. I mean, I think it's something that in our community, it's not something you come across quite often. So it's an interesting thing to be able to discuss it with somebody who's been through the journey.
Yeah.
And our kids are not far off the same age. Your son's how old?
19 months now.
19 months. So yeah, the exact same as my twins. So we're probably going through the same sort of stuff at the moment. Anyway, over to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Dennis.
Yes, I'm born and raised in Stockholm, Sweden, but moved down here to south of Sweden to study. And then I got stuck because I met my husband and...
You got stuck?
Well, as a capital native, you're kind of... I will always stay in Stockholm. Rest of Sweden sucks. I don't want to be there. But
so like Londoners.
Yeah, exactly. But then, like 3 months in here in Lund, it's a university city. I was like, why would I ever want to go back to Stockholm? It's so stressful and everything is so calm and it's close to everything. And I'm like, no. So I got stuck. And then I met my husband and obviously I wanted to stay.
It's amazing. And how long have you guys been together?
Let's see, 14 years now. Yeah, 14 years.
14? How old are you?
I'm 34.
Yeah, you look about 28. So let's just backtrack a little bit. Tell us about your childhood. You grew up in Stockholm?
Yeah, I grew up in Stockholm in kind of very liberal and happy bubble. I just came out when I was 14, and my coming out story was basically I'm bringing home my boyfriend to my parents, like, here's my boyfriend. And they said, okay.
Is that quite common in Sweden? It's quite an accepting place.
Like, I would say it depends. Like, people I've talked to, they have been more hesitant about coming out, but it's not like it's a big problem. But it's also what kind of city you live in. Like, I grew up in Stockholm, the capital, where all the gay people are.
Yeah.
But if you grow up in like a small village in the countryside here in Sweden, like, it can be different.
Of course, you could be the first gay coming out. And
Yeah.
it's quite a big deal. So I think, okay. So you met your husband when you were 20 and you decided to stay living. Sounds like you live in the woods.
I don't. It's Lund, it's university. It's like 140,000 inhabitants or something like that.
Okay. And how long were you together before you decided to do surrogacy?
So let's see. We had been together for 12, no, 11 years, 11, 12 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. First of all, it's what's 25 now. So it was quite a quick process, the whole surrogacy journey for you.
Yeah. From signing the contract to holding our son in our arms was about 2 years.
Okay. That is quick. So I have friends where they were like 4 or 5 years from start to finish. And you've always wanted kids?
That's the thing. When I met my husband, basically the first thing he said was, just so you know, I want to have kids. If that doesn't suit you, like, we're not the match. And I'm like, oh, sure. I also want kids because I was 20. That wasn't on my mind at all.
Of
And
course, yeah.
then the years went by. He had it on his mind. And I was just like, not talking about it at all.
He was just coming home with baby clothes every day for the whole 12 years. And you were like, yeah,
No.
get out of it.
Yeah. But then we attend Stockholm Pride every year.
Yep.
And almost every year there's a surrogacy company there. And we just passed by and my friend there in like 2022, he was like, no, I have signed us up for a seminar about surrogacy. So it's time now. And I was like, oh, okay. I wasn't like mentally prepared at all, but like, sure. But I think how my brain works, it wasn't like, oh, I don't want kids ever. I hate
Yep.
kids. It was more like, it wasn't a priority for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that if I would have kids, it would be with my husband. And I wanted a
Okay.
family with my husband.
Okay.
So those, what was it, like 2.5 years from he signed us up for a seminar to us holding our son in my arms, I needed that time to like mentally adjust to becoming a dad.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a problem at all. And I was so happy when we finally met our son. But it wasn't like, oh, I always dreamt of being a parent. But now I can't imagine how I didn't want to be a parent.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy, like how much it changes your mind frame. Just going back a second, with your husband, he always knew you wanted to do surrogacy or you looked at adoption.
So he wanted to do adoption. Like
Mhm.
that was what his mind was set up for. And he saved for adoption and we looked into that. But adoption here in Sweden isn't that easy.
Mhm.
And today it's more or less impossible because the government is probably going to ban all kinds of international adoption, like
Oh,
for
wow.
all Swedes. And we don't have any system of domestic adoption. So adoption isn't really an option here.
Myself and Azamat, who's not here today, we looked into adoption when we did it, and it was scary. Like, to be honest, they actually put us off adoption because it's something I would love to do, but yeah, they put us off. Like, it's quite an intense thing when you go for the grilling for it. I think I was probably more like your husband. I was like, from the age of 20, I was like, right, yeah, I'm going to have kids. Actually, I was always going to have one. I don't know how I ended up with three. I know how I ended up with three, but I was always like, I'll have one. And Azamat was, I think, fairly early on, I said to him, we were out at dinner. I remember I was like, just so you know, there's no point in us to continue dating if you don't want kids because they are going to happen for me. And he was like, exactly like you. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And what country did you?
In Colombia.
Colombia. Okay.
Yeah.
And you knew straight away it was Colombia?
So we looked into the States and Colombia. That was
Okay.
the two options. But for us, it was mainly a financial decision.
Yeah.
Since it's crazy expensive to do surrogacy in the States.
It is wild what they pay. Like the
Yeah.
amount that they pay.
Yeah.
I've got some friends that did it. They had twins, but they had twins from at the same time, but from both sperms. The lady carried both, and I think it cost like £230,000, including all legals. When myself and Azamat had our daughter, we did it in Russia, just because Azamat's a Russian speaker, and it was before everything being closed off, etc. And then the second time I did it in Cyprus, and the reason I chose Cyprus, I would have done South America as well. The only reason I chose Cyprus is I didn't want to be so far away for my older daughter because she was staying here in
Yeah.
the UK with Azima. So how was it out there?
It was great. Like we were there 2 times. So the
Mhm.
first time was to make the donation, so to
That
speak.
part of the material,
Yeah.
yeah.
I would say after that trip, I never wanted to go back to Colombia ever again.
Really?
Yeah, because on our way there, we got stuck at Heathrow in the middle of the night with no
Uh-huh.
help. And then when we finally came to Bogota in Colombia, we were exhausted and all our bags were gone. And then we came there, got altitude sickness, stomach problems. And since we were there for a very important thing, not just
Yeah.
vacation, it was this emotional stress.
Yeah.
So it was so stressful. And we basically argued all the time.
Okay.
It was like not a nice trip at all. When we came there the second time, I was like, okay, now again. But then it was a completely different experience. We had some weeks, like 2.5 weeks before our son was born. So
Yep.
we did a vacation of it, went to the
Nice.
Caribbeans and just went to Medellin and saw Colombia.
Okay, fantastic.
And yeah,
And so I'm just going to back up a little bit. The agency was based out there or was based in Sweden?
the agency is based in Stockholm,
Stockholm,
but
yep.
they have clinics or collaboration with clinics in Bogota and in the States.
Okay. And how did you find going through an agency? The pros, the cons, or
I don't really see any cons actually. Like
Oh.
a surrogacy journey is like an emotional roller coaster. Like your emotions can go through being, oh, did I make a mistake? Am I sure? Am I going to be a father? To, oh, can't I be born yet? I want to be a dad now, like in the same day.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh, that can be
and
like 40 minutes apart. You're like, oh
yeah,
my God, what am I doing? And then you'll be like, oh, you'll find some outfit you've bought and you're like, oh my God, I can't wait. Like, how am I supposed to wait another 6 months?
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So in that emotional roller coaster, having an agency that tells you exactly what to do. Like
mhm.
you just need to follow instructions. You don't have to think yourself.
Yeah.
I found very helpful. Like, okay, you need to book the flight tickets by this date and you need to book the hotel by this date. Think about packing this and this.
So like checklists of what you should
Yeah,
bring
exactly.
and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they also had, like, the Swedish company had a coordinator employed in Bogota. Every question we had, like, where should we eat? How do you get a taxi? Like everything. They could always answer in the local time and were always available. So she was the one that had contact with the clinics. And when our son was born, she called us in the middle of the night, like, he's here now, better go to the hospital. So that was nice, especially since we don't speak Spanish,
Yeah.
neither my husband and I. So
Okay.
it was nice to have someone who actually could talk
Okay.
for us.
So you went with the agency and they provide the whole service, like
Exactly.
literally from start to finish. Talk us through the choosing an egg donor and deciding who's
Yeah.
good without telling us who's going to be the dad, because that's not something personally me or Azamat speak about. If anyone ever
Right.
says to us who's the dad, I'm like, we both are. Anything
Yeah.
past that is private. But choosing the egg donor and the surrogate, etc., how did you decide on that in your situation?
We received the database of 8 donors from the agency, where we could see all the health information, personal information, pictures, and all of
Kind of
that.
like Blinder, you're scrolling through sort of thing, yes?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That was actually the only setback we had in our process because we had to do it 3 times.
For the egg
So
donor, yes?
yeah, exactly. And that was what made like a longer lead time for our process. The first time, or what should I say? We could choose a Caucasian egg donor if we
Yeah.
wanted to pay extra. But since both my husband and I are extremely white, we felt like some pigment in the family won't hurt. So
Okay.
let's go with the Colombian database. But we thought, oh, like we want someone with green or blue eyes and like some kind of look like us,
Yeah.
like the appearance. We felt like, oh, that's important. So we picked one egg donor, but then she quit the process for some reason. And since all the good ones had been picked, we had to wait before a new. So
Yeah,
then we
it's
picked the
quite.
second one, and she went through the process. But then in the end, the doctor said that she couldn't continue because of medical reasons. So then we had to do it once again. And then we were like, we don't care about the appearance. Like, we just picked someone that felt right.
Yeah.
So we picked one woman with brown eyes and brown hair. Like, we don't care that it isn't blonde or blue eyed. Like, we
Okay.
just want a kid.
Just want a baby, yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a weird experience when they send you through the stuff to choose, I found. We had very different experiences. As I say, once we did it in Russia and once I did it alone, which was in Cyprus. And the first time I found it weird because they were rarely attractive people. And there was two of us choosing and we had very different expectations on what we were looking for. But the second time when I did it with my twins, I mean, they were all like models. And I was like, this has got to be fake. I still have the pictures on my phone. I found them a little while ago. I was like going through them again. And I was like, this is crazy. They're like, literally, they look like top models. And did you both have different things you wanted from the egg donor?
Like, my husband wanted the blue eyes and blue or green eyes
Mm-hmm.
because he has blue eyes. And I was more concerned of height for some reason because Swedes are quite tall and Colombians are not. So that was what we picked in the end. I think our egg donor was like 1 meter 70 centimeters or something.
Yeah.
So quite tall for a woman. But that was like the only thing that we cared about. Of course, like health wise, that should be good, but that's just like common sense.
Yeah, it's interesting because I felt that the housewives was put right to the bottom of the form.
Yeah.
Like after all the beauty stuff, then they're like, oh, and she's healthy. And I'm like, all right, yeah. And what about your surrogate? Did you get to choose your surrogate?
We got matched.
You got
So
nice.
I don't know how it works with like all agencies.
Yeah.
But we provided like a presentation of us as a couple, like why we want to become parents and a couple of pictures from daily life. And then that was sent to a bunch of surrogates. And then we got matched. So the surrogate chose us.
And they choose you. Interesting.
Yeah.
You go out the first time. What happens then? You drop off your material.
Yeah. And you do that 3 times. And side info. So my husband is the biological dad. So
Okay.
he was the one dropping off. I was just sitting there outside waiting.
With a magazine
Yeah.
and a martini, yes?
Basically, yeah. That was the whole like first trip. But then we came home.
I'm going to ask you a question that I
Yeah.
get asked every
Yeah.
time I have this conversation. Obviously, you go to the clinic and you have this room where you go and drop off your material, and they have materials in there to help you, yes?
That was the thing. So that was what we expected. That was what have you seen on movies. But he was like, here's a cup, okay? And there's the door. And then he opens the door. And then it's just the regular toilet that everyone uses.
Okay.
So, so he was like, okay. So he had just sit there on the toilet doing his thing while people basically ran outside and queuing to use the bathroom.
Oh, no. So it's the exact same in Cyprus where I did it. And it was the only part of the scenario I found weird because I don't think it was a toilet, but it was like just a small room. They had a leather chair. But the worst part was there was clearly an admin office next door and they were really thin walls. And you could hear these two women just chatting away. So on the material that they provided, there was a little screen, again, like a television from probably the 90s, a little tiny thing, some DVDs, which was straight, and then these two ladies chatting in Greek chatting away next to her. It was the weirdest experience trying to get yourself off while the two ladies are chatting next door, and a toilet must be even weirder.
That was the old clinic. The second time we was there, they had moved to a new clinic,
Okay.
like totally new renovated and everything.
And did you say you had to do that 3 times?
Yeah. I don't know really why, because I talked to other dads going through surrogacy,
Yeah.
and they're like, "No, just one time, that was enough."
Like same day, days apart?
No, the first appointment was on Monday, and then Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
And obviously you've got the normal rules, don't drink. So yeah, very similar to the rules I was given. So you do this, you do all that part, and then you guys fly home, and then they start trying to make eggs, I assume, yes?
Yeah, so when we came home, we received the egg donor database. So that was
Okay.
when we chose the egg donor. So we did that
Okay.
after. And since that took 3 tries,
Yep.
they started creating embryos in early 2023.
Okay, yep.
And that was when we put in the queue for a surrogate.
Okay.
And then that took 2 months, I think, 2 3 months. And
How many embryos were successful?
I think we had like 10 or something.
Okay, nice, which
But
is
we
a
had
good number.
3 with the highest quality.
Yep.
So we got to
Okay.
choose between those 3. And it was 2 boys, 1 girl. And
Oops.
for some reason, the working name of having a baby was our son's name, but we don't
Ah,
share that.
yeah.
So when we got asked which embryo do you want to start with, it was like a no-brainer. We start with the boy
You started the
because
boy.
that was the name we had always talked about.
Okay.
And then our surrogate got pregnant on the first try.
Nice.
So that was nice because I've heard people trying way more times.
Yeah.
So even though we had that many embryos, we only needed 1.
For anyone, I mean, that's listening that doesn't know, they make however many eggs they produce. They use the amount of eggs they produce, add the material, make it, and then you get to choose from that how many you want to put in. Because with me, they suggested, oh, you might want to put in more than 1. With my first daughter, we put in 2, and then only 1 took. With you, it was always just you wanted to put in 1. You didn't want to try put in 2 and see.
In Colombia, they only do 1 due to like the safety of the surrogate.
Okay.
Because twin pregnancy is always more risky than just a single one. Like pregnancy overall is always risky,
Of
but
course, yeah.
they were thinking about the surrogates. So I don't know if it's a law, but they always used 1. But they offer a double guarantee process. So you have 2 parallel
Yeah.
processes. So you have twins, but they're 2 separate surrogates.
Ah, okay. Okay, so then you go out, the egg goes in, you got updates throughout the pregnancy?
Yeah. So since we didn't speak Spanish and our surrogate didn't speak any English, we had like Zoom meetings with the clinic where one of the nurses was the interpreter. So it was kind of, I would say, not awkward, but
No, it's
it was
awkward.
like
Dennis,
you didn't get the deep connection
yeah,
like you would with someone that you can actually speak to yourself, because it was like, oh, how do you feel? And then you look at the nurse that talks with the surrogate says something, then the nurse, and then you react. So it was
yeah,
very like robotic, it
yeah.
felt.
Let's face it, the word is awkward. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember them sending me videos of my surrogate having her scans, which were lovely. And they're there filming her for me. And she was so nice about it, but it is a bit awkward when you're having it's so emotional for everybody, but
Yeah.
these emotions are appearing through a translator.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, it's such a big thing to be doing, especially when you're doing it remotely. Like I know
Yeah.
when I got there and I was able to interact with the surrogate, like it became a lot easier. But when you're doing it from a distance like this on camera, it's a very weird sensation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It was much better when we actually met her the
yeah.
second time we were in Bogota. Like Of course, we couldn't communicate, so we had our coordinator that could translate, but it was much like she was there.
Yeah.
We could have
I think you can feel the emotion more that the other person is having. The gratitude. You're very grateful to the surrogate while they're going through this progress, but you can't get that gratitude across to them on camera or via text message or anything like that, because they're just words. They don't have the same meaning without the sort of physical connection of being in the environment sort of thing. Okay, so you get the call in the middle of the night to wake you up to tell you you're going to be a dad. Did you go straight to the hospital, or were you there for the pregnancy?
We were there on the last ultrasound, which was 2 days before our son was born. And the doctor said, oh, she's dilated 2 centimeters, which in Sweden is like nothing. They send you home. But they were like, no, needs to stay. And I'm like, okay. The coordinator said, go pack your bags, prepare just to be back here. And then one day went by, nothing happens. And they're like, oh, no, she's now just 1 centimeter dilated.
Okay. So she opened and closed, yes?
Basically, yeah. So then they said, like, oh, okay. And so we will try to do this. What is that called in English? Like forced pregnancy. Like they
open her up.
Buy some medication. I
Men
don't really know how
describing
that
it.
works.
Men describing this is the worst thing ever.
Yeah, but nothing happens. And I was actually at the drag race viewing party the night before because, like, we're just waiting for the call.
No.
And then they called us at 10 in the evening. Like, no, nothing happens. We will do a C-section in the morning. So just sleep and be ready when we call you again. So we went to bed like 10:30. And then 12:30, the phone rings and he's here now. Like,
oh, wow. Okay. So it went from nothing to like everything really quick.
Like the stress and emotions were up here. So then we jumped into the Uber, came to the hospital, and the coordinator from the surrogacy agency met us there and did all the talking. And then we went up in an elevator, came out and saw a nurse with the bassinets and a little baby. We're like, I wonder if that is our son. Then they came. We went to a room that felt more or less like a prison cell.
Okay.
It was like so dark, so small. It was just a bed. And I'm like, here's your baby. My husband held him first. Because that's the thing. Before our son was born, I think it was 2 or 3 months before that, I held the baby for the first time. Like, I've never done it at all. But when I held my son, it was the most normal thing ever.
Yeah.
Because before it's like, how do I hold him? Like, I don't know. But when I had my son, it was like, yeah, this is it. Like, no problem at all. It was like a new software that was just uploaded in the brain. Yeah. Like,
it is exactly like it is exactly like that. So I come from a massive family. I've got like 8 brothers and sisters. So I was like, it's just a baby. You can do it. But as my ex-husband, he was very similar to you. He only held a baby for the first time properly a few months before. And then he was like, oh, all right, you've got it. Because we had our daughter during COVID. So we weren't even allowed into the hospital. We literally had to turn up and it all happened in the waiting room. They were like, let's show you how to change a nappy. They put her in our chair and we're like, off you go. Like, and then we're like, all right, we'll just go and get an Uber home. And then you stayed in the hospital with the baby? How does that work?
Yeah. So we were told before by the agency that you could stay at the hospital for 3 to 5 days, depending on like the health of the baby, the surrogate. But there's also some kind of a law in Colombia saying that a pregnant woman, they can't decide for themselves before they
Okay.
are like approved by a doctor that they are sane again.
Okay.
Like something like that. Very strange. So they said, you will probably stay there 3 to 5 days.
Well, the surrogates assessed, yes?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But we got to leave after only 18 hours. We had prepared to be there for so long.
Yeah.
It was nice to actually go home much earlier. But that was because, like, the surrogate was fine. I think she got to leave, like, just after 12 hours or something.
Okay.
So everything went super smoothly with the pregnancy and delivery. And our son was in good health, like, no problems at all.
And then you took the baby home. That must have been
Yeah.
wild. I
Yeah.
know how wild that is. How did it feel?
It felt so strange just to put him in the car seat for the first time.
Yeah.
Like, how would you even with all the straps and everything? Uh, and this feeling of like, so you just giving the baby to us? Like, we don't know what to do. Like,
Here you go.
yeah, it's such a strange feeling, but also it was so nice just coming home to our apartment there and like sitting on a sofa, just cuddling, bottle feeding him. Like, it was so nice. He was approved to travel home after just 1.5 week,
Okay,
uh,
nice.
because we got the passport and all the documents like super fast, like
After a week
record
and a half.
fast. Yeah. So
Oh,
after a week and a
that's
half, we had the
amazing.
passport, we had all the documentations, we had approval from the doctor that he's healthy and like you're free to go.
Oh, amazing.
But you have to plan to stay for 5, 6 weeks
Okay,
because the baby should be healthy and everything.
of
And you
course.
never know what's the status of your baby when they're
Yeah,
born. So it could be that you stay for months if that's
yeah.
necessary.
Cyprus, I
Yeah,
stayed 3 months, and
yeah,
Russia, I think we stayed like 5 months. So yeah,
yeah,
it can
yeah.
be. But I also know people like you
Hmm,
where it was really quick as well. So I think it
yeah.
very much there's so many factors that come into it, like legal stuff. If that all goes very quick, and you had to do lots of legal stuff out there as well.
Yes, we went to a lawyer that signed a lot, or we signed a lot of documents, and the surrogate came up also signing a lot of documents.
Yeah,
Then we had to go to local government office to making our son a Colombian citizen, so we
right.
could travel home on a Colombian passport. Because if we would have traveled home on a Swedish passport, that process would have been much, much longer because the Swedish government needs to have all the documents that the surrogate isn't the mother,
Yeah,
and then get the Swedish passport, which takes time. So the recommendation from the service agency was to just make him a Colombian citizen, which is automatic, and then travel home on the Colombian passport and fix with all the Swedish legal stuff when you get home again.
yeah.
Uh,
So I exact same thing. So for my twins, I had to get them Irish passports, and the process for getting a passport for a child born outside the country, even if it's not surrogacy, is super difficult. As I say, it took me months in Cyprus, and it took us months when we did it in Russia as well. So I think if you are doing it, being able to get a local passport makes things 100 times easier, and then you
yeah,
can do all the other stuff when you get home.
yeah.
So you're only out there for a week and a half.
Or we stayed one more week. You know, not to rush things.
Yeah.
Be prepared. Uh,
Yeah, you're finding your feet and you sort of,
yeah,
yeah, becoming dads, which I guess is the same for anybody, whether it's gay, straight, surrogacy. Like you need a few weeks just to sort of get grounded with everything and readjust and the sleeping stuff. How did you do the night feeds?
so we had rented an apartment that had 2 bedrooms.
Yeah,
So every other night, we I slept with my son and went up during the night, and then the first feeding in the morning. Then my husband took over, and I could sleep. Our son has always been good at sleeping. Like
Yeah.
from the start, he could sleep 13 hours straight per night.
You're
Same
showing
now.
off.
Yeah. So we had to wake him up because we had a problem because he was so sleepy, he didn't want to eat. So then we got the recommendation from the nurse, try changing his diapers because he doesn't like that. And then he wake up, we could feed him, and then he fell asleep again. And then on repeat every 3 hours.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So then you get home and now your dad's, that's it. You're like going
Yeah.
through it. How has that changed your life?
From at the hospital. Like I knew that I was a dad, logically.
Mhm.
But I think for me, it took like 3 weeks before I emotionally felt like a dad.
Mhm.
Like, okay, I love you more than anything. Like, I would do everything. That took 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I've changed completely because when I told my family that we're going to do a service process in Colombia, I'm going to be a dad, and they were like, you?
Yeah.
Because I said, like, forever, I don't want kids. I don't need kids. So it's like a complete 180, like from not wanting it at all to now almost doing being a gay dad my personality because it's it's like the best thing ever. Sure,
Yeah.
it's exhausting.
Yeah.
He's running around and you have to run after him, but it's so nice. But I also feel like my husband always joking that you're so monotone, you don't have any feelings.
Yeah.
I'm very like what do you say? Autistic introvert.
Okay.
So I don't have many ups and downs. I'm more like monotone. But after having my son, I've cried and I never cry. Like my emotions are all over the place. So it feels like it opened up something. And I just feel more and feel for him. And it's just nice seeing him develop and learn new things. And there's nothing better than him just coming and hugging and like, Papa, Papa. Yeah.
It's so interesting you say that about the feelings thing. So I've always been quite guarded in my feelings. And I would say that's the biggest change in me. Like I noticed my emotions more since becoming a dad. Good and bad. And I was never a hugger. Like people would try and hug me and I'd be like, that's not me. I'd become a hugger. Now I'm like just meeting people when we're doing the podcast. I'm like, come here, let's have a hug sort of thing. And that comes from being a dad. I was on a train today and there was a woman next to me just with her kid. And I spent the whole time smiling, just listening to her interacting with her child.
Yeah.
I think it really, becoming a parent, that's what I found is the biggest change in me. It opens up this whole can of worms of
Yeah.
emotions you never felt, you never thought you would have. And your husband, he is the same for him, would you say?
No, he's the social extrovert with the feelings everywhere. He has no problem with showing his emotions. I think he was more prepared, but we have handled it in different ways. Like I started being on parental leave for 10 months. So
Nice.
I more quickly came into the parenting role while he worked. And then he felt like our son just wants to be with you all the time because he had preferred me bottle feeding him and everything like that. But then when he took over on parental leave, like I was nothing. Our
Okay.
son was like, what? Papa
Who
Dennis?
are
I
you?
don't care. Then he got like, okay, that's why. Because I spent more time with him. Of course, he was more close to me, but
Yeah.
then it was the different way around.
So, Dennis, any more? Yeah, one is enough.
So when we discussed doing surrogacy, we talked about like single or a double process. And we were into doing a double process to have two kids
Yeah.
from the beginning. Then I was like, let's just start with one, see
Yeah.
if we manage that.
Yeah.
And during the pregnancy, like my biggest nightmare was, what if it's twins? Because one, two kids to take care of, but also then I won't be the biological dad to our second kid that we're planning on having. With that said, being a biological dad, I thought it was more important than I actually feel now. Like, we don't even talk or feel like I'm not the biological dad. We're like, dad. Both of us are daddy.
It's irrelevant. It's so interesting when people, do you get asked often
That's
or not?
really, no.
No. So I've been asked, and I know, well, not obviously now with my twins, but with Azima, people would ask us. And it's so strange. It becomes so irrelevant. Like, it's before you have the baby or before you go through the process, I think it feels quite important. But then what happens is your love for the child becomes so much that that becomes so irrelevant. So you're going to have a second baby or you're not?
Yeah, so like maybe is the correct answer, but right now, no. It's exhausting being a dad.
It's
Like
exhausting.
it is, but it's so lovely.
Yeah.
But I don't see why I would need another kid because I love my son so much and I want to be there for him. But then there's also this practical things like it costs a lot. You need
Right.
to save a lot of money. If it happens, it happens. But
Okay.
it's not like a
So you
necessity.
don't me asking, how much did it cost you guys to do it out there?
We paid $65,000 or American dollars for a single guarantee process.
Okay.
I don't know what the price would be now, but that covered the whole process. Unlimited of tries with egg donors and everything. But then you obviously need to pay for the flight there, living there, like not having any income because you don't work and
Yeah.
all of that.
And
But
what
the
about
actual process is covered.
60? And what about when you get back? For me, there was additional legal costs when I got back. Did you have that on top or it's all covered in Sweden?
No, since we were Swedish, the surrogacy agency covered the legal stuff.
Oh,
So they
nice.
had a legal process. I think some symbolic sum to the authorities for doing like the application of adoption
Yeah.
because I had to adopt my own son, which is quite strange, but
Yeah.
that's how it works here.
And you're a bit of an influencer. I mean, you've got a lot of followers, people following your journey being a gay dad. Did
Yeah.
you have that all them followers before, or being a gay dad has
No,
made you popular?
being gay dad made me very popular. I think before I went to Colombia, I
Yeah.
think I had like 1,000 followers.
Okay.
And I didn't have any thought of becoming a gay dad influencer at all.
Yeah.
So I basically didn't take any photos or any videos when we were there, which I regret now
Okay.
because that would have been great content. But during the parental leave, like it was a great time. Like I love being a parental leave, but since they slept so much, I was like, oh, I'm bored. Let's
Yeah.
just be on Instagram. And then for some reason, people just enjoyed that. And then I just continued.
It's just snowballed.
So it
Yeah.
was kind of, I just slipped into the influencer thing
Okay.
by mistake.
And your following is mainly gay men?
Yeah,
Or,
I
yeah.
would say that.
Okay. Any negativity with doing it from people who are opposed to gay people being parents? Is that something you come across?
Yeah, I do. It's never been any from Sweden, ever.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think most of the people are bots, actually. There's obviously real people also, but I kind of made a series of it on my Instagram, just
Yeah.
trolling them back
Okay.
because
Nice.
I just think it's fun because they think like, oh, I'm saying this. Oh, I bet he will be so sad and
Yeah.
stop
They
being a
imagine you
dad.
sat in your wardrobe crying at night because they've got
Yeah.
this ridiculous opinion.
I'm just like, no, I'm going to troll you back. And
Okay.
I think it's so much fun. But obviously, my followers also think it's fun.
Yeah.
And so that's why I share it with them.
Amazing. Yeah. I mean, that's all you can do. You can't take it to heart. And a
Yeah.
friend of mine would put it very clear today, like, what sort of sad life must you have to be sitting there online writing nasty or hateful stuff to people about them, sharing their journey, being happy.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
follow you on Instagram and I love your page. Like, it's just a whole page of like joyous moments of you and your family. It's really nice to
Yeah.
see. I love following your story, and hopefully some of our
Thank
followers
you.
do, etc. Just to finish off, any tips or advice for gay men like us that are wanting to get into surrogacy?
There's so much information out there, like a lot, and also a lot of things that isn't actually true. And people aren't sure, like, what is the right thing, because there's a lot of haters saying, like, oh, you're just taking advantage of poor women and stuff like that. But they don't understand how it works at all. Like,
Hmm.
for example, our surrogate she was a nurse, had a good job, had a husband, 2 kids, like stable life. There was no taking advantage of a poor woman.
Yeah.
Uh, she can decide for herself if
Yeah.
she wants to do it or anything. It's not anyone forcing her.
Hmm.
With that aside, I would say people get stuck in this finding information,
Yeah.
but there's rarely the answers to the questions you actually have.
Yeah.
So I would say, like, contact someone like me that
Hmm.
can answer the questions, or contact the service agency and ask them questions, like book a meeting.
Yeah.
Because on the websites, there's this perfect picture, like, oh, you're a happy dad, but you don't get to actually how the process works. Yeah.
100%. And
So,
I would agree with
yeah.
you. I think as gay parents, we're always super happy to share our experience and our story. What I love about your channel is it really feels like you're happy to help people and advise them and share your story. The advice that I would give to anybody wanting to do it is even better than speaking to an agency, because they have a commercial interest in
Yeah.
doing, is speak to someone like yourself who's trying to help people as a gay parent and definitely has been through the process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dennis, thank you so much. It's been great to share a story with somebody who's been through something so similar to myself.
Yeah. Thank you. And thank you
Cool.
for inviting me. It's
No,
been a pleasure.
great. Cool. Take care.